KHAS Radio 104.1, 12:30 a.m. Party Line continues, and we've got a special guest here in studio. We've got Adam Pavelka from Agri Affiliates here in Hastings. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we appreciate you being here. So we're in the same building. I didn't know that.
Yeah. We're on the third floor of the Burlington Center. Yeah, right. 7th and Burlington, and we're up on the third floor.
So folks have probably heard about Agri Affiliates. They've seen your name, they've heard the name, but if they're not familiar with what you do, share with us what exactly you guys do.
Yeah, in just a simple sentence, I'd say we're agricultural real estate professionals in terms of we represent owners of farm ground in a variety of different capacities. Yeah, primarily where I work as an agricultural real estate broker, so I help people sell and buy ag real estate, sell farms, ranches, recreational properties, so represent them in what we call private treaty or traditional listing type formats. And we also do quite a few public auctions all across Nebraska, and I'm also licensed in Kansas.
So other than the obvious, Adam, how does that differ from residential real estate?
Yeah, it's very specialized in terms of what we do. Brokerage wise, is there's a lot of particulars in terms of a lot of times the assets that we're selling. A lot of times the dollar amount is substantially more. You take a quarter section of irrigated farm ground in Adams County next to Hastings, it's easily worth more than $1.5 million. So a lot of times we're working in terms of large values, and these are hard-earned assets, that a lot of times represent many generations of work from our clients, their family and their predecessors putting together this. We take that with a great deal of care. There's also some very specific things when we go into selling or managing farms in terms of there's compliance issues, environmental issues. A lot of the compliance has to do with working with the United States Department of Agriculture and knowing, crop. Each farm, tillable farms have crop basis, and we work with those, and a lot of times have long-term government contracts that we're working with, and in terms of educating our clients about them. Sometimes our clients have recently inherited a farm in terms of a lot of times our typical client may have grown up on the farm but has moved away. They're 30 or 40 years removed from it, but their loved ones passed away and they've inherited the farm. So they're kind of starting from ground zero again in terms of learning about their farm, about their cropping history, in terms of yield potentials, and trying to highlight the positive attributes of that farm so we can market it the best for them. Or we also manage farms professionally for clients where we help them, if they want to retain that farm asset, we help them find out what's the right type of lease for them, help them find and select tenants. We do accounting for those clients, help USDA compliance, select crop insurance, a whole variety of things that we do, and just really, I know it sounds like that, but we really try to make it simple, in terms of making land sales or management something that I like. That educational process with client, educating them about their farm and its capabilities.
I mean, and there's also, I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, it's similar to residential real estate in that the relationship that you have with your clients is important. I mean, there's a personal touch to it.
Yeah, very, very much so. In terms of our clients, in terms of we get to know them. Some of our management clients we've worked for decades, and they become somewhat like members of your family, and we have frequent conversations with them. And it's a really great relationship, and I love the brokerage relationship too, in terms of helping guide a client in terms of meeting their goals, and their goal might be maximizing the value of their farm, or maybe just negotiating a fair price with a long-term tenant or a thing of that nature. So, but yeah, I would say the relationship aspect is very similar to that in what residential brokers have with their clients.
And again, we're joined here in studio during Party Line with Adam Pavelka with Agri Affiliates here in Hastings. Now, you've been with Agri Affiliates about 10 years, is that right? A little more?
That's correct. A little over 10 years now.
How has it changed for you? How's the landscape changed when it comes to ag real estate?
Yeah, it is. Agriculture is a industry of cycles in terms of when I got into doing farm management and ag real estate brokerage, I was coming off what was a very hot market, and things were starting to cool. I came in that 2013, 2014 time frame at a point at which commodity prices had kind of peaked in that 2012, and then the next several years things were correcting. So in terms of Rents were getting more difficult to negotiate because the gross revenues on these farms were less. Prices were starting to decline, and it gets more difficult to market farms in a declining market. So I feel like I cut my teeth at a very opportune time because the industry was more difficult. But we've also seen over the course of the last few years, kind of starting in that 2020, 2021 time, kind of a spike back up in both commodity prices and in the price of land. So it's kind of one of those, like, we didn't have enough inventory. We couldn't list enough farms to satisfy the demand. And then once again, in a relatively short amount of time, we're in a correction cycle. Since the summer of 2022, the Chicago Board of Trade corn futures prices have corrected by roughly 50%. So we've taken 50% of some of these gross revenues, and it's really started to affect people's thinking. There's still great demand out there for agricultural real estate, but the economics are starting to show themselves up in the market.
One of the things I hear from my side, Adam, is a lot of farmers who are either aging out or passing on the farm, they're not seeing a lot of that passed on to their sons or their children. Is that something you're seeing too, or is
it varies? Quite a bit. I would say the traditional farm family, in terms of there's still, and there's been some resurgence, I'd say, looking at those last 10 years too, of some younger people coming back to agriculture. That average age of the farm actually has ticked down just a little bit with some influx. Those higher commodity prices that I was talking about, and higher livestock prices too, have created some opportunities for some young folks to come back to operations. And they're bread and butter. Those active producers are most commonly the typical buyer for farm sales that we have, and we have those folks are a lot of times the most probable buyer of these farms are these family farm groups. But there are those situations where somebody passed away in the farm family, and the farm gets inherited by that next generation. A lot of times there isn't that family member that's out there, in terms there isn't the son or daughter or niece or nephew that are actively in the land. And a lot of times that's when we get the call, is when they're without that connection to the farm. And many times that's when folks, in terms of elect, there isn't that connection. But sometimes there still is. There still is that sentimental attachment, and they like the idea. And sometimes like, hey, could you introduce me to a neighborhood farm family that would do a good job? And that's part of what we do in farm management, is connecting those landowners with those active farmers, ranchers out there that'll be good stewards of the land. We help manage that relationship. Again, joined here in studio, Adam Pavelka, Agri Affiliates. Adam, folks listening in who may have heard about you and want to get connected with you, how can they? Yeah, they can reach us here at the office in the Burlington Center here at 7th and Burlington, in the upstairs from the Wells Fargo Bank building and upstairs from KHAS. And they can also reach us by phone, 402-519-2777, or on the web at agriaffiliates.com. And that's agriaffiliates.com, or the phone number 402-519-2777. Adam, I know you cover a lot. You covered a lot here, and you do a lot for folks all around South Central Nebraska and beyond. Anything else you want to add about what you do at Agri Affiliates, or any other things maybe we didn't cover? Yeah, I've got a great team. I guess in terms of when you engage Agri Affiliates, you get more than just Adam Pavelka. We've got a great group, not only just in this Hastings location with Jeff and Erica and Abby, but we have the other offices and the strength of several farm managers, active real estate brokers, and several certified appraisers too. So we have a great team approach that are here to meet your ag real estate needs. And again, Adam Pavelka, Agri Affiliates here in Hastings. We appreciate you coming on the show. Even though you're 2 floors away from us, we'll have to meet up again. That sounds great, Brandon. Look forward to it. KHAS Radio 104.1, 1230 AM. We're rolling along, taking your call at 462-2511. Stay with us.